Hey everyone, right, the reason why I'm making this video is because there's something I really want to show you, and it's kind of a little secret project that I'm working on, or have been working on, but let me tell you a little bit of the backstory first. A few weeks ago I moved into a standard size traveller's notebook by Carpe Diem, and that was kindly gifted to us at PlannerCon in Brussels, but I did find that I wasn't feeling it, I was like, it's a beautiful planner, don't get me wrong, but I just really wasn't feeling it at all. Now, I had been using my standard size brown leather by Diana Archive Journals. She actually makes some really stunning traveller's notebooks. Case in point, she made this for me, and it's I have been doing videos on my week's planner, but honestly, that's another thing that I just can't get into right now. I just don't know what's going on, but I'm using another planner which I will be sharing with you on here, which has really helped me. So sometimes it's like swapping over for something that's really aesthetically pleasing to something that's probably not as aesthetically pleasing when it comes to planners, that really works for you. And if it works, then obviously stick with that. So as much as I really want to use this so badly because it's got possibility, I just love it so much, I just, at the moment, it's being put to one side. But standard traveller size I need for my journaling, and I really wanted to move back into that as opposed to staying in a B6, which I had been using. So going back to that one that I was using by Carpe Diem, and I wasn't really feeling it, I wasn't in love with it. And I put the word out and said, has anyone got a pink traveller's notebook maybe that they want to swap? But nobody really responded, which in a way is a good thing, otherwise this wouldn't have happened. So I decided to get all my fabrics out and just make my own. I have canvas, it's like a treated canvas which you can paint on, and I have used it before to make a traveller's notebook, but this time I decided to use it as sort of a template and a backing to make myself a traveller's notebook out of all the scraps of fabric that I have been hoarding and set aside. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my standard size traveller's notebook, which I love so much. I'm so happy with how this turned out, I really am. So I'm going to show you it first. Ta-da! Right, so sorry, there's strands of cotton on here from my table. I had it on my table. I sew inside the house, all my sewing stuff's inside, and all my art stuff is in the cabin. So yeah, this has been in my room, but I absolutely love how it turned out, because I've been able to use all the fabric pieces that I've hoarded. And I was at Plannerfest the other day, and someone, I don't know who you are, if you're watching this, thank you for leaving this on the swaps table because I love it so much. And here's another piece. Now, this piece of fabric, if you're watching Sarah Scott of Philo Fabulous, I bought this as a paper clip from you. So this piece of fabric here, I was desperate to use it as the paper clip, but it just kept sticking out too far at the top. So I took it off, ironed it, and it turned out to be decent size actually. So I used the whole piece because I just love all the colours in there. I love the mustard yellow, the pinks, the turquoise, and it all just goes so well. So I made it like the focal point. Then so there's a lot of, so this to me is so personal, and there's so many stories in this because, so obviously that was at Plannerfest, this one from Sarah. Now the pom-pom trim is a piece of trim that I've been hoarding for well over a year, from my friend Kate, and she gifted me this with, I think, some ephemera as well. And I really didn't want to just use it on anything. It had to be used on something special. And obviously the time came and I thought, yeah, I've got to use it for this. So I've put it all the way around. And at the back here, you'll see this piece of fabric that has like a ribbon, not ribbon, is it ribbon? What would you call it? It's like this ribbon effect on the edge. This would have been a pocket at one time, and it was in a stash of fabrics that I picked up from somewhere, I'm not sure, because I get my fabrics from all over the place. Once I had made the actual notebook, I'm going to show you inside what I've done inside. I obviously punched out the holes, and instead of attaching elastic to do the traveller's notebook up, I attached this piece of fabric that has been obviously ripped into like a ribbon, and I actually tie it. So it's just long enough. Ideally it would be a bit longer, and I could perhaps swap it out for another piece, but I just really love the colours in this, and it does the job. So I can just tie it, and I could tie it so you can be as loose or as tight as you want, and there you go, like that. Yeah, so if it was a bit longer, I'd probably just tie it and thread it round or something. Anyway, so this little charm I've actually sewn on as well before I put the backing, the lining on. So this little charm is silver, I think silver clay, and this was gifted to me by my friend Lee of Minxie Magic, I think that's the right order. Anyway, I'll link her below because she has a shop, I believe. Yes, she does. And she's such a lovely person anyway. And she posts a lot in my Dream Create journal group of all the finds that she has. In fact, we did the watercolour swap, and if I can find it, oh, here it is. So we did this, just digressing a little bit, we did a watercolour swap, Daniel Smith watercolours. So I poured my Daniel Smith watercolours for her, and I was waiting for them to dry, and in the post, this arrived. She made me this tin, she poured all these colours for me, and she even sent extras here, these 3 here, which was so kind. So she's got a good heart, she's really lovely. And that, when she sent me that, I think that's when she sent me this charm, and that was another thing that I'd hoarded, and I really didn't want to just use it on anything. So I've put together all these pieces. So this whole thing to me personally tells a story, and I really wanted it to be sort of like that rough sort of, I mean, you know, that junk journaling look. And I was going to, now I've put some wadding in here, so I could have, if I wanted to, do some stitching, some embroidery on the front, and that would have created a really nice sort of look. But I just thought, well, I like it as it is, and I didn't want to sit around, because it's another creative process, and that creative process takes time. It takes a lot of thought sometimes, so I'd have to sit there and work out where I'd want it, what stitching I would do, you know. And at the time I just wanted to complete it, and I was happy with how it came out anyway. So I put the lining in. So I'm going to open it now and show you the pocket that I made. So I hope I'm keeping all this in shot. Here's the pocket. Right, so honestly, I am thrilled with how this pocket has turned out. In fact, it's wide enough to keep cards in there and things, so it's a good size. But let me tell you, it takes a long time to, when you're sat there with a blank canvas and you've got all these fabrics, it takes an incredible amount of time to put together. 1 second, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I had to, I'm recording on my phone, so I had to turn the notification thing off, otherwise it would just be constantly making noise while I'm filming. Okay, so yeah, it takes an incredible amount of time to, when you've got that blank canvas in front of you and you have all those fabrics, to place them together. So it is a time-consuming process, but a really enjoyable one. And I have so many fabrics I can do more journals with. Now, I put this to my patrons, so they obviously got a look at this first, and I did put to them whether or not they would be interested, if I should, you know, if it's something that they would like to see in my shop, which will be opening soon. I've said that for months, but I actually really want to start making some of these and put them in the shop. So I've said to them, for the first few that I make, obviously because it's time consuming, I'm not going to be taking what's the word, I'm basically just going to make up a few in whatever sizes. I'm not going to make it too difficult for myself. I'm just going to make, to start with, perhaps just a standard and a B6. So I'm not going to take customs at this time anyway. I've learned from experience that to take customs is very time consuming. So I'm just going to make up a few. I'll obviously, you know, I've said to my patrons for helping me out that they would have first look at the first batch, so they'll have like first dibs, but that being said, I will be making plenty for my shop eventually. And I also have this, I've made this for my B6, so it's not quite long enough for this, but it does still, so if I show you, it does, you can still sort of, it still comes out, like obviously when you open it you can see it, but these are made from mostly vintage and all secondhand beads. So I go to the vintage store near me and they always have a ton of things like this, and I buy a load of them in, whichever ones speak to me, and I have a collection of them. And so I would like to make up some of these unique bookmarks as well, and I just love as well how the colours just match this. So you can tell my favourite colour palette but I really love that so much. So yeah, that has been my secret project. I am so happy with this. Now obviously this isn't one that I can take out with me in the countryside when I'm going out nature journaling. That has to be my other leather or faux leather traveller's notebooks, but this is my go-to journal. So like when I've actually got this insert here which is brand new from Chelsea Paper Co. It's double the amount of Tomeo River paper, and I will, because I doubled up on the paper, I'm going to take the staples out and I'm going to make 2 signatures and hand stitch them back into the cover, because she uses such brilliant quality cardstock. I did ask for plain so I could decorate it myself, and the cardstock itself is very, you know, very good quality. She just said when I spoke to her name's Jenny, when I spoke to her, she said she just took the plunge and just bought all good quality, because it's just not, you know, it's not worth buying in all the thin stuff. And also when you've got elastics, especially in traveller's notebooks, it can, if you've got poor quality cardstock, the elastic does damage the top and the bottom where it meets the card, so, and the paper. So yeah, so really I love the quality of her notebooks. So I didn't go for anything patterned, I went for plain, because obviously again I'm going to decorate it myself. Take these out, make 2 signatures and hand stitch them in, so it's all cut, ready to put together and hand stitch, so that makes my life a lot easier. I'm no longer making, if you're watching this and wondering where this shaker dashboard is from, most of you will already know that I used to make them. Now, because of the situation surrounding plastics, I'm not comfortable with making them, plus it was wrecking my sewing machine. I've ruined one sewing machine already, and as nice as they are and as much as I love them, it's just a plastic nightmare. Obviously you have the sequins in there as well. So I decided just not to go with it, and I wasn't enjoying the process anymore as well. It was just too overwhelming. So I do know that Jenny Lane, Cheryl, her name's Cheryl, but I'll try and link below her shop. I know she's making them, or if you have a request, she will make them for you. So yeah, so this is my standard. I'm going to be making a new vision board for this as well, and yeah, I haven't put any, I went for linen, I went for something nice and plain, and I just love that at the back. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of linen, and I just love how it's just, there is a plain canvas there, it's not all covered. So but I do love how that pops like that. And I could have gone for white, but I knew that if I went for white it would have been it would have got really dirty. So but yeah, even if it was white canvas, maybe even I could have just had plain white canvas, and if it did get dirty, it doesn't matter, because if you have paint and stuff, it would actually create a really nice effect on the canvas as opposed to the fabric. So that's another, you know, another idea. So do let me know what you think of this. If it is something that you would like to see in my shop, I know I will be making some. I don't know how many. I have to set aside time each week to do it, and I have a lot of vintage fabrics as well. So this sort of fabric, I have a lot of those, and other pieces of fabric I've been hoarding. I also have these like sort of pieces, and pieces like this. So it's old, I think it like old sari fabric, that, yeah. So, and a lot of them have these beautiful designs on them, embroidery designs. Hey everyone, sorry, I completely forgot to tell you also that I will be making junk journal inserts as well. Depending on time, I have a lot of things to go in them, so hopefully I will also have those to add to the shop to go with the journals, so do look out for those. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and until next video, take care, bye.